Hey everyone, it's Olivia. Welcome back to another session of me, a very confused American expat living in the UK, trying to untangle the absolute wiring disaster that is my brain. Look, I love living in Britain. I love the tea. I love the sarcasm. I even occasionally tolerate the weather. But the longer I stay here, the more I realize that my entire childhood, specifically my time in the American education system, was essentially a fever dream that prepared me for a reality that simply does not exist anywhere else on Earth. Today we are doing a deep dive. I'm talking a forensic analysis of 19 things I learned in American schools, behaviors, social norms, institutional facts that I thought were universal laws of physics, only to move to the UK and realize, oh wait, that was just American weirdness. And we aren't just skimming the surface today, guys. I went down some rabbit holes. We are going to talk about the history, the psychology, and the cold hard cash behind why American schools are the way they are, and why my British friends look at me like I have three heads when I tell them about my high school experience. So grab a cuppa or a red solo cup if you're feeling nostalgic, and let's deprogram my brain together. Number 1. The bathroom is a high security privilege. Let's start with something that still gives me anxiety, the hall pass. In the UK, if a kid needs the loo, they usually just ask or go. It's treated as a biological necessity. In the US, the bathroom was treated like a high-level security clearance zone. I remember being 16 years old, almost a voting adult, and having to raise my hand and ask permission to perform a basic bodily function. And it wasn't just permission, you had to carry a physical object. Sometimes it was a piece of wood, sometimes a laminated card, sometimes, and I am not joking, a giant hubcap or a toilet seat cover, just so everyone in the hallway knew exactly where you were going. But why? I looked into this. It comes down to the legal concept of in loco parentis. In the US, schools are legally liable for you every second of the day. Unlike in the UK, where there's a bit more common sense liability, American schools are terrified of lawsuits. If you trip in the hallway while you're supposed to be in geometry, the school gets sued. So the hall pass isn't about the toilet, it's a legal alibi. It's a tracking device. Psychologically, though, this teaches American kids that they don't have bodily autonomy. We are trained to suppress our needs until an authority figure grants us a permit. Moving to the UK and seeing kids just go to the bathroom, it felt like anarchy. Beautiful, hydrated anarchy. Number 2, the cult of the combination lock. Okay, British friends, let me explain the locker. In American movies, the locker is the center of social life. It's where you meet your crush. It's where you get shoved, if you're a nerd. But nobody talks about the stress of the combination lock. In the UK, you guys have lockers, but they usually have keys, or you carry your stuff in a bag. In the US, we are issued these master locks with a dial. Right 32, left 14, right 2. If you miss it by a millimeter, it doesn't open. And you have 3 minutes to get from one end of the building to the other. This stems from the massive size of US schools. Because our schools are consolidated, often housing 2,000 to 4,000 students, we can't carry all our books all day. We need base camps. The combination lock became the standard in the 1950s because keys were too easy to lose for thousands of students. But culturally, it created this intense territory ownership. That 12-inch wide metal box was the only real estate I owned. Decorating it was a status symbol. I put wallpaper in mine. Wallpaper. Here in the UK, I see kids lugging giant backpacks and I think, your poor spines, but at least you aren't having a panic attack because you forgot the third number of your combination while the bell is ringing. Number 3, the yellow school bus monolith. You know it, you love it, it's iconic. The yellow school bus. In the UK, kids take the public bus, they walk, or their parents drop them off. The school bus here is usually just a regular coach hired for the day. In the US, the yellow bus is a government mandate, and I mean that literally. That color, it has a name. It's called National School Bus Glossy Yellow. It was decided at a conference in 1939, organized by a guy named Frank Sear. They analyzed colors and realized that this specific shade of yellow-orange is the most visible color to the human eye in peripheral vision. It's a safety feature. But it taught me that student transport is completely segregated from society. We didn't learn how to use public transit. We didn't learn how to navigate the city. We were picked up at our door and deposited at the school door. It's incredible for safety. Statistically, the yellow bus is the safest vehicle on the road, 70 times safer than a car, but it stunts our independence. When I moved to London and saw 11-year-olds tapping their Oyster cards and navigating the tube, I was terrified for them. But they're fine. They're street smart. I was bus smart, which basically just meant I knew which seat to sit in to avoid being bounced into the ceiling. Number 4, the permanent record threat. This will go on your permanent record. How many times did I hear that? I thought there was a literal file in Washington, D.C. that contained every time I talked in class or got a C in biology. In the UK, nobody cares what you did in year 9 once you've done your GCSEs or A-levels. It's a clean slate. But in the US, because of the GPA, grade point average system, everything counts. Your freshman year biology grade is averaged into the number you apply to university with 4 years later. This creates a culture of sustained, low-level panic. You can't have a bad year, you can't have a mental health crisis at 14, or your GPA tanks and Harvard is off the table. It turns education into an endurance sport rather than a learning process. The permanent record is basically a tool of social control. It teaches us that forgiveness is rare and that mistakes are cumulative. It took me years in the UK to realize that my boss doesn't care that I got detention in 2004. Number 5, multiple choice is a lifestyle Scantron sheets. If you know, you know. The little bubbles. Number 2, pencils. In the UK, assessment seems to be largely essay-based or show your work-based. In the US, we are the kings of multiple choice. A, B, C, or D. This taught me a very weird way of thinking, that for every complex problem, there is one correct answer and 3 distractors, and the answer is already on the page. I just have to recognize it. This started in the mid-20th century with the SATs and the need to grade millions of students quickly during the post-war baby boom. It's industrial-scale education, but it kills nuance. You can't argue C is correct asterisk if asterisk you consider the geopolitical context. The machine just reads the graphite mark. I think this is why Americans can be so binary in our political thinking. We are trained to pick the right bubble. The idea of writing a 3-hour essay on the causes of WWY, where the asterisk argument asterisk matters more than the asterisk conclusion. Asterisk? That's a British skill set. I'm still learning it. Number 6, the varsity identity. In the UK, you play sports for fun or maybe for a club. In the US, if you are good at sports, you are a demigod. You get a jacket, the Letterman jacket, a giant leather and wool coat with a massive letter on your chest representing your school. This taught me that your value to the community is physically wearable. It's a military-style ranking system. You walk down the hall and everyone knows that guy plays football, that girl is on track. It creates a visible caste system. But it goes deeper. It's about the sheer amount of money involved. High school sports in Texas function like professional leagues in Europe. We have stadiums that cost $60 million for high schoolers. It taught me that entertainment is a valid substitute for education. We would miss class for pep rallies. The quarterback was more important than the valedictorian. In the UK, the tall poppy syndrome means people don't really flaunt their status like that. If you wore a Letterman jacket in a British school, you'd get roasted alive. Number 7, the active shooter drill. This one is heavy, but we have to talk about it because it is the single biggest difference between my upbringing and my British friends. I learnt how to hide in a closet before I learnt long division. We call them lockdown drills. Lights off, blinds down, huddle in the corner where the door window can't see you, stay silent. I thought this was just what happened at schools everywhere. I thought it was like fire drills, universal safety. When I tell Brits this, they look horrified. They have fire alarms, maybe a lockdown if there's a stray dog on the premises. But the psychological impact of training a 6-year-old that their learning environment is a potential war zone, that is uniquely American. It instilled a hypervigilance in me that I still can't shake. If I hear a loud pop in a Tesco here, I flinch. Everyone else just keeps shopping. It's a trauma response ingrained as policy. Number 8, the Pledge of Allegiance. The repetition aspect. I know people talk about the pledge, but I want to focus on the asterisk, ritual, asterisk of it. Every morning, hand over heart, monotone chanting, I pledge allegiance to the flag In the UK, you might have assembly, maybe a hymn if it's a religious school, but there is no national oath sworn by 5-year-olds every morning. The repetition is the key. It's a form of soft indoctrination that equates the state with the self. It taught me that patriotism is a daily chore, like brushing your teeth. It also made the words meaningless. We said them so fast, one nation under God, indivisible. It just became sound. It wasn't until I moved here and saw that Brits are actually quite cynical about their government and flag that I realized how bizarre it is to ask children to swear fealty to a piece of cloth before they can even tie their shoes. It's nationalism disguised as routine. Number 9. Cheerleading is a lifestyle, not a hobby. To my British friends, cheerleading is dancing with pom-poms. No, 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 no. In the US, cheerleading is a high-contact, high-risk, competitive industry. I learnt that spirit was a commodity. These girls and guys are throwing human beings 20 feet into the air. It has one of the highest injury rates of any high school sport. But socially, it taught me that there is a specific role for women in the American social hierarchy to support the real action, the football team, while looking perfect and defying gravity. It's a weird mix of extreme athleticism and retro gender roles. In the UK, if you started chanting and doing backflips because the math team solved an equation, you'd be sectioned. In the US, it's a scholarship path. Number 10, math is a singular concept. This is a linguistic one, but it represents a curriculum difference. In the US, we study math. In the UK, it's math. Why the ants? Because in the UK, it's short for mathematics, implying a plural collection of disciplines. In the US, we treat it as a singular monolith. We also sequence it differently. In the US, you take algebra for a year, then geometry for a year, then calculus. It's compartmentalized. In the UK, you tend to do a bit of everything every year, getting progressively harder. My compartmentalized brain struggles with this. I learned that knowledge fits into boxes. You do the geometry box, you close it, you never touch a protractor again. The UK approach is more integrated. It makes more sense, to be honest, but don't tell my 10th fifth grade geometry teacher I said that. Number 11, the prom industrial complex. The British have levers balls, or proms now, because they watched High School Musical Asterisk, but they do not understand the stakes of an American prom. This isn't a dance, it's a wedding rehearsal without the groom. The promposal, asking someone to prom, has to be a viral event. Renting limousines, hotel rooms, spending hundreds of dollars on a dress you wear once. It taught me that social milestones require exorbitant spending. It's early training for the American consumerist wedding industry. If you don't spend money, it doesn't count. I remember girls crying in the bathroom because their proposal wasn't Instagram worthy, and this was before Instagram was even big. In the UK, you get dressed up, you get drunk on cider, you dance awkwardly. It's fun. American prom is asterisk, work, asterisk. Number 12, extra credit is real. This concept baffles my British friends. What do you mean extra credit? In the US, if you fail a test, you can sometimes do extra credit to bump your grade up. Bring in tissues for the classroom? 5 points. Go to a play? 10 points. Do a weird project? 15 points. It taught me that success isn't about mastery, it's about hustle. You can negotiate your way out of failure. It's very capitalist. I didn't do the work, but I can offer this alternative value to the transaction. In the UK exams, the computer marking your paper doesn't care if you brought tissues to class. You know it, or you don't. The American system breeds a certain type of optimism or entitlement, depending on how you look at it, that there is always a workaround. Number 13. Substitute teachers are prey in the UK. They call them supply teachers. In the US, subs. There is a cultural trope in America that when a sub walks in, the social contract is void. It taught me that respect for authority is entirely dependent on the specific person's power to punish you, not their position. We would switch names, we would turn desks around. It was brutal. I feel like in the UK, while kids can be cheeky, there's a bit more inherent respect for the role of the teacher. In the US, the sub is a temporary weakness in the system to be exploited. It's basically asterisks, Lord of the Flies, asterisks for 45 minutes until the bell rings. Number 14, the science fair. You've seen it on Stranger Things, the trifold poster board, the baking soda volcano, the potato clock. The science fair taught me that presentation is more important than data. You could have cured cancer, but if your font was Comic Sans and your glitter glue was peeling, you weren't winning the blue ribbon. It also taught me that parents do the work. Let's be real. That 8-year-old did not build a working nuclear reactor model. His dad, who is an engineer, did. It normalized the idea that success is a family project and that appearances matter immensely. In the UK, science seems to be done in, well, labs, not on cardboard in a gymnasium. Number 15, summer vacation is an era. In the UK, you get maybe 6 weeks in the summer. In the US, it's nearly 3 months, end of May to early September. This stems from our agrarian roots. Kids needed to work the farms. But what it taught me was that life has an off switch. For 3 months, you forget everything you learned. It's called the summer slide. But socially, it creates this weird pressure to reinvent yourself. You leave school as a dork in June, and you have 90 days to lose weight, get a tan, change your style, and return as a cool kid in September. It's the American makeover culture built into the calendar. In the UK, 6 weeks isn't enough time for a metamorphosis. You come back and everyone remembers you were weird in July. Number 16, the valedictorian obsession. The ranking. Oh my god, the ranking. In American high schools, we are ranked numerically. I was number 14 out of 350. We knew exactly who was number 1, the valedictorian, and number 2, the salutatorian. This taught me that life is a zero-sum game. For me to rise, you must fall. If you get an A and I get an A, we are tied. I need you to get an A- so I can be number 1. It destroys collaboration. In the UK, if everyone gets a first or an A star, great. Everyone is smart. In the US, the valedictorian speech is the ultimate prize. It pits students against each other in a gladiator match for a decimal point. It took me a long time to learn how to work asterisk with asterisk people rather than just trying to beat them statistically. Number 17, cafeteria geography. In the UK, lunch is food. In the US, the cafeteria is a map of the social hierarchy. Asterix, Mean Girls. Asterix was a documentary. You have the jock table, the nerd table, the goth table, and you do not cross lines. It taught me rigid social segregation. You are defined by who you eat a square slice of pizza with. But also the food itself. I learned that pizza counts as a vegetable because of the tomato paste. I'm serious. Congress declared that American school lunches are a crash course in industrial food processing. When I see UK school dinners with like actual roasted vegetables and custard, it looks like a Michelin star meal compared to the mystery meat nuggets I consumed for 12 years. Number 18, the school nurse. In the UK, if you're sick, you go home or see a GP. In the US, we have the school nurse, but because of funding cuts, the nurse is often just a receptionist with a bag of ice and some band-aids. I learned that ice cures everything. Broken arm, ice pack. Stomach flu, ice pack. Existential dread, wet paper towel. It was my first lesson in the American healthcare system. Triage is the name of the game, and nobody is actually going to fix the problem until it's an emergency. You just get patched up enough to go back to class. Number 19, graduation ceremonies for everything. Finally, let's talk about the cap and gown. In the UK, you graduate from university. That's it. Maybe a nice assembly when you leave school. In the US, we graduate from kindergarten. We graduate from 5th grade. We graduate from 8th grade. We graduate from high school. I have pictures of me at age 5 in a polyester gown holding a fake diploma. It taught me that we need constant validation for simply doing what is expected of us. You managed to not die for 5 years, here is a ceremony. It dilutes the big moments. By the time I actually graduated university, I was like, okay, another hat, another gown, let's go. It feeds into that American need for spectacle and applause. We are a nation that needs a round of applause for showing up. So there you have it. 19 ways the American school system rewired my brain in ways that I am still trying to undo while living here in the UK. Don't get me wrong, American schools gave me confidence. They taught me public speaking, show and tell. They gave me the hustle of extra credit. And they taught me how to open a combination lock in under 3 seconds under extreme duress. But looking at it from across the pond, I can see how intense, competitive, and legally paranoid the whole system is. It explains so much about the American psyche, the individualism, the consumerism, the binary thinking. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you're British, which one of these sounds the most insane to you? And if you're American, do you still have anxiety dreams about your locker combination? Because I do. Hit that like button if you learned something, subscribe if you want to watch me struggle to understand cricket in the next video, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers!